everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Review. Today we'll be talking about the latest Netflix K-drama original, Mr. Plankton, which came out last Friday. So I spent my weekend binge watching Mr. Plankton, and if you did the same, join me because today we'll be discussing the good and the bad things about the show. So quick spoiler alert, as usual. If you haven't watched the show or if you don't like spoilers, stop now, go watch the show and then come back because I'll definitely be spoiling you today. So, quick summary. Is Mr. Plankton perfect? No, not at all. Absolutely not. Is it an enjoyable ride? Is it an enjoyable show? Yes, very much so. So, quick introduction before we start. Mr. Plankton is the story of Hye-jo. Hye-jo is played by the wonderful Woo Do-hwan. Guys, you have to forgive my Korean. So, Hye-jo is this errand boy of sorts. He runs all sorts of errands. For money, of course. And then... And then one day he finds out that he doesn't have much time left to live. So he decides to, because he doesn't know who his biological father is, he decides to embark on this road trip all around Korea to look for his biological dad. And to accompany him on this journey, he decides to kidnap his ex-girlfriend, Yoo-mi, played by Yoo-mi, who is about to get married to Hye-ung. Hye-ung is played by Oh Jung-se, who is, you know, the only son in this very traditional Korean family. Very rich, very traditional family. So this is a story of Hye-jo and Yoo-mi as they, you know, travel around Korea looking for his biological dad. And of course, Hye-ung chasing them, trying to recover his bride. So Mr. Plankton counts on a flawed script, a very flawed script, but flawlessly directed and flawlessly performed by this enormously talented cast. I think it's a show that makes you laugh, it's a show that makes you cry, but most importantly, Mr. Plankton makes you care. And I think it is a welcome addition to this mixed bag of 2024 K-dramas. So besides the pitch perfect comedy, the show is really funny. Mr. Plankton is endearing, it's genuine, and it's bittersweet, and it's very entertaining. I think the show wanted to explore themes of mortality, of family, and of self-fulfillment. I think the Hye-jo's tale reminds us that it's never the destination that counts, it's the journey. So there is this very nice line in one of the episodes that says, never set a destination, because at the end of the day, we are all going to the same place, let's say. But the journey is what matters, you know, it's the people, it's the moments that you have with the people that you love, it's the people you have around you, is the laughter you share with them. Because what Mr. Plankton reminds us is that death is not just the loss of life. In Mr. Plankton, death comes up in different shapes throughout the show. So, of course, to Hye-jo, death is indeed the end of his life that he's forced to face. And he's forced to face the fact that he didn't live his life the way that he really wanted to. But to Yoo-mi, for example, death is the premature menopause diagnosis that she receives that sort of steals the dream that she has of becoming a mother. To Hye-ung, death is the loss of Yoo-mi's affection. To Hye-ung's mother, death is the end of her family line if Hye-ung decides to get married to this girl and not to have a child. So you notice that most characters in Mr. Plankton, they face losses that pain them as much as a death, an actual death would. And that makes them realize that even though these losses, even though death is inevitable, that doesn't steal the beauty and the importance of the present moment. So it is their journeys, this is all the time that they spend together that actually matters. So of course, if it is the journey that counts, it is understanding what makes you happy and understanding what you want that matters. It's holding on to what you love and what makes you happy that it's important. And Mr. Plankton sort of raises this question of what is it that you actually want? Because the show sort of mixes this idea of self-fulfillment with self-fulfillment and family together. And it's sort of like, by creating this story, mixing these two concepts, it sort of exemplifies how complex the concept of joy actually is. Because Hae-jo, in the beginning of the show, he thinks that he will feel happy if he finds his biological dad. But by the end of the show, he realizes that what really matters to him is being acknowledged and being loved by the father who raised him. Jae-mi appreciates Hyun's love for her or affection towards her because of the idea of family that he might be able to provide her with. Not because, not because she fosters this sort of romantic love towards him. No, it's because he provides her with the family she's always wanted. But then she realizes at the end that as much as having that family would make her happy, that she's actually in love with Hae-jo. Hae-ung realizes that even though he loves Jae-mi, maybe he loves her because of what she sees in him. He loves her because she showed him who he could be, that he could break free from his mom, that he could live a life free from his mother and actually live a life that he designed himself. So I think the question that you have throughout the entire show is, what is it that these characters actually want? And they stumble, they fall, they fail throughout the entire show trying to figure out what that is, what really matters to him, what they really want, who they really love. Because I think Mr. Plankton reminds us that we need to put effort into figuring out what we want and who we love. And life is not just about cherishing this moment and holding on to what makes us happy now. Life is also about understanding what makes us happy, and then working towards, keeping that thing safe, keeping that thing or that person close to us. Now, did the script explore these themes with the clarity that they deserved? No, it didn't. So, like I mentioned before, the script is flawed in a lot of different ways. And it starts, you notice when you watch Mr. Plankton, you notice that the first 6 episodes, they are an organized mess. It starts with the premise itself. Why is this guy literally kidnapping his ex-girlfriend and forcing her to do something that she doesn't want to do? Why is he dragging her around without even telling her what's happening? So, dodgy premise? Yes, very much so. So you needed to take Mr. Plankton with a pinch of salt if you want to enjoy it. It's like watching Beauty and the Beast. So you need to sort of, okay, all right, I won't overanalyze this, and you continue. Besides the premise itself, that is a bit problematic, the script is plagued with irrelevant subplots and with a convoluted narrative flow. So you have, for example, the gangster subplot, completely unnecessary. That subplot didn't add anything to the story, to the main story. While I was watching throughout the first 5 or 6 episodes, I was wondering, like, is this actually leading to something important at the end? No. So the gangster subplot was completely unnecessary. It ended up stealing a lot of time that could have been better used exploring relationships that actually matter to the main plot. Maybe Hae-jo and his father, or even Jae-mi, that unfortunately her character was underdeveloped. So that time it could have been used in a different way. And then also when you're watching those gangster scenes, they don't have the allure that the rest of the show has. So it makes the audience disconnect with the show, and then you reconnect when the main plot comes back onto the screen. It's sort of like, I noticed when I was watching the show, once the gangsters showed up, I was like, oh, look, butterfly. So unfortunately you have that problem. Another problem that you have is characterization. So the male characters are very well written. So they are written with enough detail to give them depth, and they are quite well developed throughout. But unfortunately, Jae-mi didn't receive the same sort of treatment. So for the first half of the show, Jae-mi is constantly screaming, crying, and cursing, sometimes for no reason, which weakens the moments that she should really be screaming and crying and cursing. Her character's decisions are mostly inconsistent, and you have flashbacks. You have a few flashbacks here and there that sort of give us glimpses of who she is and her motivations without really solidifying her personality or her character. So unfortunately, Jae-mi is really underdeveloped, and that's what makes me a little bit angry with that silly gangster subplot. We could have used that time to develop Jae-mi. Now, if you look at the show, it's not all female characters. Not all female characters are underdeveloped or, don't receive the treatment that they should. You have Lee L's Bong-suk. She's an excellent character. She's much more rounded, and it was a relief to watch her, actually. I loved her, to be honest. Hyung's mother as well. She was a very good character, but Jae-mi, unfortunately, as the female lead, she lacks a lot. Now, the show achieves its full potential when it allows the story to explore its themes without any distractions, which is why the last 4 episodes are very much worth your time. So they are the ones that really, really deliver. I think a special mention needs to go to the finale, which is this 70-minute episode that manages to do so much, so much more than the first 6 episodes did. So the finale brings all the themes together, and it also highlights the relationships, because I think that's the most important part about Mr. Plankton, is the relationships that these characters establish and develop. So it highlights this relationship, and these 4 episodes, and especially the finale, it proves that Mr. Plankton can be a hilarious but moving show. The last 4 episodes, they are very, very good. The first 6 that are a bit touch and go, for sure. Now, forget the script, okay? The charm of Mr. Plankton comes from the competence and the charisma of its cast. Mr. Plankton was blessed with this talented bunch of people that actually breathe life into a script that even if the script, even if it had been perfectly written, it wouldn't have offered us anything new, to be honest. But the cast just breathes life into this script. They give this energy and charm to it that only a very, very talented cast could have done. Of course, the cast was directed with precision, and the dialogue in this is a good thing about the script, the dialogue in Mr. Plankton is very sharp, very witty, and they deliver this dialogue with such finesse. And they transform this story into a hilarious but poignant, heartwarming but sorrowful sort of story, which is very nice to watch. Now, Woo Do-hwan, this is one of his best performances ever. As Haejo, he dances between heartbreak and pride and recklessness with a charisma that is difficult to match. His delivery is excellent. And of course, he also benefits from a script that, gave him a realistic 30-year-old man. So it was quite refreshing to watch him, because he's a 30-year-old man who curses, who isn't nice all the time, who is a little bit aloof at times, and who smokes. I was like, oh my god, people actually smoking in a K-drama. So he feels very realistic. But guys, the chemistry between him and Yoo-mi is tangible from the very first episode. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible. And they established this very weird relationship because it's a very unique but very strange dynamic, because they are two people who are in love with each other, but they broke up. They spent a long time without seeing each other, and then they see each other again. And then in a sense, it's this weird dynamic that they like each other, but they don't want to like each other because they broke up, but they don't really know why they broke up in the first place. So it's this very weird dynamic. And from that, you see that they share this intimacy, both physical and emotional, that can only come from years together. And they deliver this with a veracity that is amazing to watch. It's just incredible. They look like they've been together forever, and it's just, the script wasn't as kind to Jamie, but Yoo-mi still delivers. She's a fantastic actress, and she gives a performance that is full of personality, full of pizzazz a little bit. So it's wonderful to watch her individually, but it's wonderful to watch them together. I mean, when it comes to chemistry, this is something that, Mr. Plankton does not lack at all. Chemistry is bursting at the seams everywhere in the show. I think the show wouldn't have been the same without the incredible Oh Jung-se, who plays Hyung. I think he continues to, in my opinion, he continues to prove that he's one of the finest actors in Korea right now. Hyung is a well-rounded character thanks to the script. His personality is full of different facets, and thanks to Jung-se's performance, Jung-se gives shape to this 40-year-old man who is immature but endlessly kind. He's intelligent but naive. He's determined but a coward. So it's fantastic because Heung is I think the only character in this show that you have a very clear character arc for him, and it's wonderful to watch him blossom in front of your eyes as he grows up, in a sense, and he finds what he wants to do in life. He understands who he is. He breaks free from his mom. So it's very, very nice to watch that. But something that for me is super, super important, it was super important, was the relationship between the three of them, between Haejo, Jae-mi, and Heung. You know, these three together, they had such excellent chemistry. But, you know, I think the relationship that they developed between the three of them is one of the best elements of the show, for sure. So I think I should also mention the one and only Kim Hae-suk, who plays the matriarch, Ho-ja, Heung's mother. She is also a force to be reckoned with. The strength of her performance just, it echoes in every single scene. As you know, when she's in front of the camera, she has this aura of strength that is just incredible, and it's especially fascinating to watch her and Oh Jung-se acting together, because they are both such strong performers. It's just incredible to see how their performances bounce off each other. It is incredible. But I think I also have to mention Kim Min-suk and Lee El. They are both extraordinary. And also the greatest surprise, Jonah. Guys, Jonah was the greatest surprise, played by Alex Lundy. He was my favorite. My absolute favorite. It's funny because it's like I mentioned before, that the dialogue is so sharp and so witty. Jonah barely has any lines in this show, but he's fantastic. I think his performance is great, and they use the character very well. And yeah, Jonah was a pleasant surprise in the show, for sure. So when it comes to a more technical side, the show was directed by Oh Jung-chan. He's a very famous director in Korea. He's also directed Juvenile Justice for Netflix a couple of years back. He allows Mr. Plankton to shine through stunning but very meaningful photography throughout. The cinematography highlights, you know, the environment, because this is a road trip after all, so it is a must for a road trip show. So he highlights the environment a lot, but at the same time, he pays so much attention to the details, and he highlights the little details in the performances, because you have such nuanced performances in the show, and his camera work focuses on these little details, which is wonderful to watch. He also has an excellent eye for frames within frames, and he uses these shots very well throughout the entire show to not only establish relationships between characters, but to give depth to his compositions in a very stylish way. So Mr. Plankton is beautiful to watch. It's just so beautifully shot. And I think the visual effects were well made. They were decent, okay? They were decent. I would say maybe a little bit overused at times, but overall, they used the visual effects quite well in the show. The score is beautiful. The score is a little bit different from your, you know, everyday K-drama score. It has like this Sigur Rós sort of quality to it sometimes. The songs are beautiful. They are all on Spotify, so make sure to check. So yes, so directing and the score, and the performances. Shall we wrap this up? So, Mr. Plankton, you know, despite an imperfect script, Mr. Plankton manages to, you know, to deliver a story that is funny, but that has a heart to it. I think while watching it, I was thinking to myself, it's funny how even in the silliest of stories, you know, K-dramas manage to create a heart in the story. So, you know, Mr. Plankton has a cast that must be watched. So watch Mr. Plankton for this incredible cast. The score is great. The show is full of hilarious shenanigans here and there. But I think most importantly, Mr. Plankton raises a couple of questions about life, about our own life. Are we putting effort into finding what we truly love, into, I think, cherishing the people that we really love? And are we holding on? Are we too obsessed with the destination and we're forgetting to pay attention to the journey? So Mr. Plankton is worth your time. Take it with a pinch of salt. Like I said, a lot of things. Characterization of the female lead, irrelevant subplots, the premise a bit dodgy. But embrace the show for what it is, and it is a fun watch. So, Mr. Plankton, it's on Netflix, make sure to check it out. And this week, so yesterday, we posted this review on the Blossom Review, so article form. Today we have the video, and tomorrow I will be talking about the Kamogawa Food Detectives, the series. So the second book, The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, came out in October, yes. So I decided to review both books together. Did you know that the Kamogawa Food Detectives series, the series actually has 10 books? Yes, but only the first two have been translated into English. But tomorrow I will be talking about that on the Blossom Review, so make sure to check it out. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a fantastic day today. I hope it's not too cold where you are. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. Next week, I'll be coming back with Beyond Goodbye. So Beyond Goodbye is coming out on Netflix today, and I will be binge watching Beyond Goodbye in the next few days. So next week, come back so we can discuss it as well. So take care of yourself and have a wonderful day. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Have a lovely day. Bye.